previous high school athletic director, who's taken another position within the academy in the admissions department, as continued growth has provided more opportunities both for him and Silverdale. Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Action Sports Now.
Nuga Radio.
Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio.
Oh, it's Marie Mott this morning with the Marie Mott Show. I'm back today. I'm sorry I missed you guys yesterday, but I'm back. Taking it from the streets to City Hall, from City Hall to the mayor's office. Can't leave out the Crooked Police Department here. Good God Almighty. From the valley low to the mountaintop, giving you guys a bird's eye view to what's going on in the city of Chattanooga. Oh, man, I missed you guys so much yesterday, and I'm so sorry that I could not be on the air yesterday, but I was doing my due diligence as a journalist and as a community member. The first story that I covered when I was afforded the opportunity to come on board here at Nuga Radio 92.7, and before I jump into that, we are streaming live, 92.7 FM. We're also streaming live on YouTube, Facebook. If you can't call in, which the call-in is always the same, 800-8949 if you want to chop it up with me. Drop a comment, drop a question. If I got an answer, I'll give it to you. If not, maybe we'll get back to it. But I was afforded the opportunity to come on board here with Nuga Radio as a broadcast journalist. And the first story that I covered on my show was the Unjolee Moore case. Now, a lot of us have misconceptions about what our rights are, which is why I do a show once a week, Know Your Rights. And I'm going to keep doing those. We're going to start getting into constitutional rights. If y'all hold tight with me, y'all keep tuning in. We're going to start getting into constitutional rights, what to do if you find yourself involved in a criminal case. I'm not a lawyer, but I believe that you don't have to be a lawyer to understand simple things when it comes to protecting yourself, okay? But the first case that I got into, the first order of business that I did on my show was the Unjolee Moore case. And it is so important that we understand one thing. Everybody that is in prison is not guilty of a crime. Let's pause for that. As a matter of fact, 2 out of 23 individuals in the state of Tennessee alone, 2 out of every 23 individuals in the state of Tennessee alone have been exonerated of wrongful convictions. And a good portion of those, even in false confession. Folks, everyone that is in jail is not guilty of a crime. And I find it interesting, a lot of the details of Unjolee's case, because not only does it involve scattered details and accounts from witnesses, but police coercion, tampering of evidence, official misconduct, and from officers who have a history of doing that. Pause. Now, I have compassion for the family. They were there yesterday. Members of the family were there yesterday. I have compassion for the family. They deserve justice. But the family of Mr. Bernard Hughes, I want you to, if you ever listen to this, I want you to think about something. Regardless of how you feel about your loved one being deceased, would you want to see an innocent man in prison? Would you want to see him ripped from his family if he did not commit the crime just because you feel some type of way? And it's not out of disrespect, but I want you to consider that. If this man had no evidence that linked him to the crime, no DNA evidence. Oh, man, we already got people calling in. Lord. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me this morning.
I'm only kicking this off right away because I'm sure people out there are saying, well, if he confessed to the crime, he did it. And I'm going to tell you this.
Talk to me.
Dad was a cop. My dad was a cop for 35 years. You know what he told me?
What did he tell you?
Most of the people that confessed to crimes did not commit them. He said they would walk in, confess to him. He said, most of the people, listen to this. Most of the people that confessed to the crimes voluntarily did not commit them. Isn't that interesting? And that's from a cop for 35 years. Let me tell you another thing. And David and Tulis and I argued against this and argue with everybody. You cannot waive your rights. That if the police don't independently verify the facts without you speaking and present that to a jury, I don't believe there can be a conviction. They cannot take your words whether they warn you of it or not. It must be independent. I'm against plea bargains. I don't even think plea bargains are constitutional. You can't give away what God gave you. And God gave you the right to speak or not to speak. God said you can't violate your rights, and that's enumerated in Amendment 6 and Amendment 5. Think about this, Marie. If you can voluntarily waive your rights, the Bill of Rights are worthless because the state will, in one way or another, cajole or compel you to do it.
Absolutely.
There has to be independent verification. You don't have the authority to waive your rights, nor does the state have authority to plea bargain. They need to bring every case to the jury. Every case needs to be independently verified. And nothing that you say should ever be used against you in a court of law.
I believe that. And I agree with that. Thank you so much for your comments this morning. You know, one of the things about this case, but I mean, it's so many things about this case that are wrong, that are just screaming to the injustices within our legal system and within our police department, both. Not in one or the other, but in the two. To have it be a situation where the niece of a police captain is involved in a robbery/murder, who called him. He wasn't even involved in the case. Called him. He collected evidence and all this other kind of stuff that the Internal Affairs Unit within the Chattanooga Police Department wrote up a statement saying that what he did was wrong. How is she a key witness? How does she get to go free? Is she credible? How do we as a state, because I find it interesting after doing some homework into the laws that we have as a state, it is not a law here in the state of Tennessee that custodial confessions have to even be recorded. That's a problem. So you're telling me that people can be brought in to the police station here in the state of Tennessee, which is even here in the city of Chattanooga. And I don't understand how a person is interrogated for 13 hours or kept at the police station for 13 hours. For me, that screams that's a huge red flag for me. If you got all the evidence against this person, go ahead and book them, right? If you don't have all the facts, it don't take 13 hours, folks, to ask questions. It don't take 13 hours. You telling me that just the simple pressure of being handcuffed and locked in a room or in a hallway for hours and hours and hours wouldn't make even the most of us go nuts. Now, I'm a kid who used to get in so much trouble. I was a kid who used to get in so much trouble as a young lady. Man, I got in so much trouble. And my mama would, or my grannies, they would often send me into a corner as a timeout if I didn't get a whooping. They put me in the corner. And you know what? They put me in the corner until I confessed or owned up to what I did. And sometimes they put me in the corner because my brother or my sister got me in trouble. But I got caught. I was with them, right? I got caught. And so, of course, after about 30 minutes staring into the corner, I'm ready to get out the corner. And what would I do? I tell my mama, I confess, I would sing like a canary. I don't think the average person could be in handcuffs for 13 hours. Okay? And that's not a tactic to coerce a confession, let alone that the officer who is questioning this young man has been implicated in 3 other police brutality instances. Pause. Now, I'm not a genius, I would say, but I'd say I'm not dumb either. I'm not, a savant, but I ain't slow. How do we have a man, Officer Michael Wanger? Let me say his name, because we need to know who these cats are. Officer Michael Wanger, who's been implicated. And interestingly enough, all of the police brutality cases are against Black men. Not only was he implicated in 3 cases, ordered in one case to pay a family $26,000, but that man got a promotion. So you're telling me you can beat people, injure them, torture them, and keep your job? And if I'm late to work 3 times, I'm out the doorway? You telling me? Oh Lord, y'all know I'm getting fired up. You're telling me, a citizen, your job is that, even though you're not supposed to, you're not obligated to protect me or to aid me as an individual. At the least, do something right. Do something right. You telling me that not only can you keep your job consistently being implicated in putting your hands on people, but you don't get arrested. You don't get arrested. You have no charges brought against you, with the exception of a judge making concessions for you because you have a badge. You get to keep your job, but then you get rewarded. For what? Is this the corruption of our law enforcement offices? What? One of the interesting things that I witnessed yesterday in court, and because I watch things, I just sit back and I notice, is that you got Cameron Williams with the district attorney's office and all of his constituents. And you have all these other lawyers who are coming in supposedly trying to defend people. And you know what I see? I see them come in and dap each other up. I see them come in and have pleasant looking conversations. Now, I'm sure these folks are great people outside of work. But I'm sorry, maybe I'm just too militant, too in my own little corner, to where I can't dap up people who send innocent people to prison. I can't rub shoulders. I can't rub shoulders with folks who will defend police officers who they know have a history of assaulting citizens in their custody. I don't say that it's a far stretch of my imagination for me to believe Unjolee when he says that he was tortured. It's not a stretch for me. It's a simple Google search of this officer's name that pulls up several cases of his history. Now, I find it interesting that the history of the defendant was the only thing that they wanted to talk about. But even Officer Wanger on the stand admitted that not only did he not record all of the confession that Unjolee supposedly did, he only recorded the parts that he wanted to hear. After holding him for 13 hours, after coercing him and torturing him, which puts the man under duress, he did not read him his Miranda rights. Folks, he also then suddenly forgets the details of why he held him so long, why the recorder only worked part of the confession, and why him and Captain McPherson were on the fritz about about Captain McPherson's niece's involvement in the case. The police department wasn't even on one accord. Folks, that's a problem. That's a problem. 800-8949 if you want to call and talk to me. But folks, I'm super excited about, and I'm hopeful, I'm prayerful of the outcome, because Judge Poole said that he was going to take everything into consideration. But the details of the case are what disturbed me more than Judge Poole taking the case into consideration. Because if Judge Poole ever hears this, that's the least you could do, Your Honor. That's the absolute least you could do after giving this man a lawyer in a murder robbery case who had only passed the bar a year and 1 month before he received the case. Now, the last time I checked, the Constitution said that I have a right to effective counsel. You telling me that a man who had never had a murder case should represent me? He's never had a case of that magnitude at that point in his career. And he doesn't recuse himself, removes himself for the case, petition to the judge, I'm not experienced. I don't have this level of experience. I greatly appreciate that you put me on the case, but I don't know anything about this. I just passed the bar, grateful to be here, so glad you considered me. But I don't have the experience to defend this man. Y'all, I can't, oh my Lord. When I say I can't, yes, I'm glad Judge Poole considered it, because to me, that's the least he could do. Your Honor, that's the least you could do. You put an inexperienced lawyer on a man's case where his life was on the line. And regardless of what he did in his past, it was about what he did at that point in history. Because I said it yesterday on my live, we've all made mistakes. Don't front. Not one of us is blameless. And it's so funny how a lot of us know the deep, dark secrets that we hold, that we pray God keeps that closet of our life closed, and it never spills out all the skeletons that we have. It's funny how quickly we forget that we used to be womanizers, going out here thotting with anything that moved. It's so quick how some of us forget that we used to be addicted to drugs and alcohol and have all kinds of isms and schisms. It's so interesting how quickly we forget that a lot of us have only God's grace that covers us and our mistakes that didn't end up killing us or locking us up in prison. Come on now, be real. Be real. It's some things that some of my listeners, I hope you listening to me. Y'all have done some things. You have done something in your life that you know was wrong. Come on. Come on. You've lied to somebody. You've hurt somebody. You've cheated somebody. You've set somebody up. Come on. We've all done that. Nobody is perfect. And thank God for time that he gives us to be able to grow up, hopefully grow out of some of the stupidity that we all do. And for a caller to call in and say that his father was a police officer with decades of experience, say that the majority of people who come in and confess to crimes are not guilty. The fact that the National Exoneration Registry says that anywhere between 2 and 10% of our population, and at this point, we have millions of people in prison, that attests to that anywhere every year we're locking up tens to hundreds of thousands of people who are innocent. Come on. Y'all, the law is not really on our side. Now, the constitutional law is on our side, but the interpretations that man makes of law is not on our side. You're telling me our state says we don't have to record confessions? and that a judge will allow a partial confession without any acknowledgement of Miranda rights into a case, and that's not a problem. And that the family is more concerned with their pain than the fact that maybe an innocent man got swept up in all of this. Yeah, that hurts. I know that hurts. But it's real. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's not about Unjolee's mama. It's not about any of our personal feelings. It's about what the law says, what rights we are guaranteed as safeguards to make sure we're not taken advantage of. Come on. We're going to keep going through it, the second half of the segment. But folks, I'm hopeful about Judge Poole, and I'm telling you, I'm on my knees praying that man does the right thing. Because nobody has anything to lose by giving Unjolee a new case. They got nothing to lose by that. Y'all stay tuned for the second half of the segment. We're talking about setting an innocent man free here on the Marie Mott Show, Nooga Radio 92.7. Stay tuned for the second half of the segment.
Chattanooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
Hamilton County Health Department says at least 2 Chattanoogans were infected with E. coli after eating at the River Drifters restaurant on Suck Creek Road. Police believe the E. coli came from the well water. The health department says the restaurant is complying and they're working on getting a new, healthier water source. The location otherwise has a spotless health record. A man was blasted in the thigh with a shotgun in Cook Park, Athens. Police say it happened just after 8 p.m. Sunday. They found Willie Lusain Jr. with his leg shredded with buckshot. Police discovered he had gotten into an argument with a 17-year-old who left and came back packing heat. Police say they know who the 17-year-old is. And a 69-year-old from Mowbray Mountain, Roger Kelly, was shot to death on Hotwater Road in Saudi Daisy. Police say it happened just after 5 p.m. on Sunday. Police say he was already dead when they got to the scene. All that remains is to find out who did it. Val St. John for Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News now.
Let's face it, Old Faithful isn't as faithful as it used to be. Constant repairs are a hassle and can rack up quick in money and time. Landers McClarty Ford can fix that. Right now, you can get a 2016 Ford Focus, 34,000 miles, only $11,491. A 2017 Chevy Spark with only 17,000 miles for less than $12,000. A 2015 Volkswagen Jetta with less than 21,000 miles for $11,991. Yeah, browse their entire inventory of new and new-to-you cars, trucks, and SUVs online at Landers McCarty Ford of FortPayne.com. Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. If you can't find your next perfect ride, they'll go find it for you. Big city selection, small town prices, friendly service, and top dollar for your trade. The savings are waiting and only a short drive away, so what are you waiting for? Get started with your personalized shopping today at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com.
Nooga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with? Eric, you're our winner. Really?
You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nooga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nooga Radio.
92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
I got my business up and running and it's already expanding. I got lucky. Lucky because I found Signal Voice and Data. Signal Voice and Data can incorporate all of my business information sharing and communications seamlessly, keep my costs down, and let me work more productively with endless connectivity no matter where I might be. That's called working smart, not hard. Go to signalvoicetn.com and bring the future of communication to your business today. signalvoicetn.com.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga Roofing Contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com. for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust.
Hey, Karen, you need me for that 1 o'clock?
Yes, Cheese, please. Karen, did you get the quarterlies done?
Yep, they're filed in the cabinet.
Karen, can you describe the initiatives to the new hire? Thanks.
Oh, sure. Full-bodied, some floral notes, maybe a hint of dark chocolate.
Am I in the right department?
Got wine on the mind? Come unwind at Virgola. Italian wine, oysters, caviar, cheeses, and more. Perfect after work or a romantic date night. Virgola Italian Wine Bar, 608 Georgia Avenue.
Man, you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I worked with my dad on his truck all the time. Just one more bolt to go.
Yeah, wrong bolt. Today's truck ain't your daddy's truck. For repairs on today's vehicles, you need Amco Transmission and Total Car Care of Chattanooga on Lee Highway. Stay on the road, not in the garage. Amco Transmission on Lee Highway. Get it done the right way. The Thompson Pet way. Yeah, I just put that anywhere.
Now, Rick wants you to buy on U.S. Gold American coins. Are you tired of making 1% on your investments with the banks? Even 2 or 3% at best? Now, Rick wants you to buy on U.S. Gold American coins.
Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, Brainerd Road. Chattanooga weather.
We've got lots of sunshine and good-looking weather out there through your afternoon. Heating up a little more, but still not bad. Highs near 90. Tonight, fair. Lows upper 60s. For Wednesday, some high clouds. Still mainly dry. Highs up around 90, near 90 again Thursday with a few isolated afternoon storms. Looking to buy or sell a home? Real Living Southern Realty provides real answers and customized marketing solutions. Serving the entire tri-state area, check rlsouthernrealty.com for more. And I'm George E. Walsh, Chief Meteorologist at your 4.
Cougar Radio 92.7.
We're back for the second half of the segment talking about freeing an innocent man here in the city of Chattanooga. I promise a lot of us believe that some of the things that we see happening around the country, we are somehow insulated from these things happening right here in our own backyard. But folks, we need to wake up. You the listener, my friend, my neighbor, my church member, my community member, you got to wake up, baby, because there's a lot of stuff happening in our backyard. You want to tell me or act like it's not even historical for things to happen to black men here in the city of Chattanooga? Hello, somebody. Ed Johnson. The Ed Johnson case. Weighty Suttles. Come on. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me.
Hey, good morning. This is Nate King, a member of Concerned Citizens for Justice.
Hey.
I want to just give a little quick thing. I'm able to drop in for a minute, and haven't heard if you already talked about it, but just wanted to see if you could tell the listeners a little more about Attorney Garth Best.
Absolutely.
Who was Mr. Moore's original public pretender, appointed to him by Judge Poole himself. And how not only was he ineffective counsel for Mr. Moore in the case, but also an ineffective witness called by the state who didn't remember anything. It seemed that he didn't go over his notes and didn't seem to recall much of anything. So if you could tell us more, please. I
sure will, dog. That's my comrade from CCJ, Mr. Nate. But yes, I was talking about it, Nate, a little bit. So Attorney Best, at the time that he received Mr. Moore's case, only had passed the bar about a year and a month prior to receiving a murder case that implicated several men, that included police brutality, several varying witness statements. Okay. Mr. Best was called yesterday at the post-conviction hearing as a state witness, because the whole premise of us trying to free Unjolee, or the post-conviction hearing, is for him to receive a new trial with proper representation, which is your right, right? Ask yourself this question as a citizen. Why would a judge? Now, we know what a judge is. A judge is a person who was formerly a lawyer. Why would someone, now Judge Poole, he's on up there. I mean, he's been a lawyer for a long time. He's been dealing with law for a very long time. Why would a seasoned lawyer and judge appoint A man with only 1 year, probably less than that, after he passed the bar, of experience on a murder case. Why would he do that? And expect that lawyer to be properly prepared, right? To properly know what motions to file, what cases to reference. Again, I'm not the smartest cookie in the box, but Jesus Christ, I'm not a dummy. Why would a judge do that? And hindsight for a lot of us is 2020. Maybe I'm gonna give, even though he didn't give Unjolee one, I'm gonna give Honorable Judge Poole a grace card, as my mama would say. I'm gonna give him a grace card today. Maybe he just, because it was so much going on, maybe he didn't look at how much experience Attorney Best had at the time. But sir, after question after question after question after question, Attorney Best's answer for probably about 95% of all the questions that the state and Mr. Moore's attorney asked him was, I can't recall. I don't remember. I have no clue. You're telling me that's proper representation? Now, I wouldn't expect him to remember all of the cases that he did, but with this being the first big case he ever did, you can't tell me he can't remember the details. That's like you not remembering the first person that kissed you. You don't remember the first person, Lord forgive me, the first person you ever slept with. If you slept with somebody before you got married. Come on. Like you're not remembering what it was like to have your first child. You always remember the first time you did something. You telling me he don't remember details to the biggest case that he had at that time in his career? He don't recall none of the details. Come on now. That's not even logical. But it was a testimony to he was not prepared. And obviously, he kept saying in a lot of things, he agreed with Attorney Murphy. If I knew then what I knew now, I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't have allowed this. I would have did this differently. I would have submitted this motion earlier. Folks, that's ineffective counsel. The other details really don't even matter to me, homie. The other details are inconsequential. We can figure that out later when we get that new trial. But for his prior attorney to be handed this case, as shucks, it took about 4 to 5 months for him to receive the master file of the case with the transcripts, as well as the supposed confession. He had been requesting that for months before he even got it. Come on, y'all talk about this is an effective legal system? Come on now. Hindsight is 2020. And I can't even believe. But this shows, because the state really didn't have anything. The only thing that they're holding on to is the confession. But you cannot coerce people into a confession, folks. Nobody can beat you into a confession and say that's okay. You can't do that. You can't detain a person for more than half of the day after you've exhausted them, deprived them of sleep, probably deprived them of food. No lawyer interaction whatsoever. And I don't believe, come on now, I don't believe Unjolee just immediately signed his life away. I don't believe that. Because if he did that, if he did sign his life away, then get into the questions, get him booked. Because if he admitted to those, he should have admitted to those right away, right? If he didn't want legal counsel, I'm just using my common sense, folks. 800-8949 if you want to talk to me. But my common sense says to me, if he legitimately waived his right to counsel and he's going to talk to you, you don't have to beat him to do that. Come on. But more than anything, Just like Unjolee got a pass, so does the officer asking him questions. He's not credible to me. And I hold the man who has a badge to a higher standard than the criminal. Come on. Now, I know some of y'all out there don't like anybody talking like this. But when you aspire to leadership, you get held to a higher standard. How is the lawman doing worse than the criminal? And we think that that's righteousness in God's eyes. In the most church city in America, by the way. Come on. Attorney Best did not have the experience, the knowledge, the fortitude. I could look at his face because he couldn't even look Unjolee in the eyes. That says a lot. When a man can't look at another man, that says a lot. Body language is about 95% of all communication. It's nonverbal. But that says a lot. He couldn't even look at Unjolee, couldn't even look his way. Folks, that is guilt. That's guilt. And it was amazing, man. Attorney Murphy's closing statements were absolutely stellar. He said, Judge Poole, I would hope that you would not want to instill a fear or distrust of our judicial system here for Hamilton County natives. Yes, sir. When I say that hit me right here in the chest, because we do have a distrust. We do have a distrust of police. Let's be real about this. We don't trust the police. Not in my community, we don't. And it's getting into other communities. We don't trust the police. We do want to respect them. We want to appreciate them. We want to honor them. But it's hard when we don't trust them. It's hard when you see that they could beat people several times over several years and then they don't get fired. They get promoted. It's hard to trust police like that. It's hard. It's hard to trust the judicial system when a judge will appoint an experienced lawyer to a case that means that either a man will walk free or he will be in prison for the rest of his life. It's hard. Come on. It's hard to put our faith. That's what it is. It's hard to put our faith in these processes that really were implemented to protect us. But how do we end up here? How do we get here? Folks, we've been here really, especially in Chattanooga. Concerned Citizens for Justice, and I talked about them last week, was an organization that was formed because a man died in police custody and they still don't know who did it. We still, after a federal investigation, a state level investigation, right in the United Nations, after civil suits, after all of this, we still have no clarification. We're just now, in the last couple of years, we're just now honoring Ed Johnson, who was found swinging on the Walnut Street Bridge. And he wasn't the first black man to get lynched on there either. We're just now coming to terms to something that happened 110 years ago or more. So shucks, if we just now coming to terms as a city of what this police and judicial system has done against black and brown bodies 100 years ago or more, man, no wonder I see us putting on the blinders to what's happening right now. But you better open up those blinds and let the sun shine in. Because, folks, it can happen to you. It can be you, your child, your daughter, your niece, your nephew, whomever that gets implicated in something. And they didn't do it. Everybody got a pass. Ain't nobody exempt. But judge me on my actions right now. That's hard. That's hard for people to do. Judge me on my actions right now. Because I pray to God, I'm not the same woman. I am not the same at 30 thank God I am not the same at 30 that I was at 20, that I was at 25. I'm not the same. I've grown. I've done some growing, some soul searching. There's no handbook to this thing called life. It's not. We all make mistakes, right? But what's right is what's right. And we're not going to keep getting away. We're not going to, don't think that. The Bible says that we will sow whatever we reap. We're going to reap it after a while. You better believe that. We're going to reap it. And, you know, I would implore the judge, do what's right, Your Honor. There's nothing wrong with letting this man have a new trial. That means everybody goes back to the drawing board. And now we got to actually prove that this man is guilty with proper counsel. I think the state talked more about what Unjolee used to do than what he supposedly did do. Why? There was no DNA evidence that linked him to the crime scene. His cell phone records, which they always had, did not put him in the vicinity of the crime. As a matter of fact, his cell phone pinged off of towers on Riverside Drive and Macaulay Avenue. Folks, y'all know where Britishwood Apartments is on Highway 58. That's nowhere close. That's nowhere close. Last time I checked, we haven't invented devices that clone people. Now, unless there's some freaky stuff going on with our government, where Unjolee got a clone twin that was at Highway 58 and at Riverside Drive, driving in between Riverside Drive and Macaulay at the same time. Now, this was what the witness, the living witness, who did not remember Unjolee in any of this anyways. The only witness that implicated him was Captain McPherson's niece. Interesting. That's the only one. Is she a credible witness, folks? If the Internal Affairs Unit found out that her uncle was destroying evidence, tampering with evidence, helping in the case, how can you do that, folks? Isn't that a conflict of interest? Huh? Isn't that a conflict of interest for you to butt in on an investigation that involves your family member and you're a ranking officer? Would you not consider that a conflict of interest? And shouldn't you stay out of it because it's hard to have the ability to remain neutral when you have the power to suppress evidence and fabricate it if you want to too? And now for our Internal Affairs Unit to come forth with this information, and even still, after the judge should know all of this stuff. Judge Poole, you should know that Officer Wenger has a history of beating Black people. He should not be called as a credible witness, which also means that the probability is that we could take, as a judge, you got to take that into consideration too. Well, does this officer have a history of beating Black men? Google is your friend, because the answer to that question is yes. Has it happened multiple times? Yes. So could that potentially taint any of his credibility? Absolutely. 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 Now, I would believe that the most important thing would be DNA evidence, folks. DNA? No, Dana? I would think that would probably be the most important thing, along with the cell phone records. But the tainted witnesses, all involving police and police family members, and a half-recorded confession that only had maybe a recording of 1 hour out of a 13-hour hold, that don't make no sense. That doesn't. That's torture, folks. Y'all do know sleep deprivation is a form of torture. Keeping food from people is a form of torture. Confining people and constricting them without human interaction, like solitary confinement. Confinement is a means of torture. Come on, y'all. There's nothing that states, especially if he supposedly, I can't get off of this. I'm going to waive my rights to a lawyer. And I'm supposedly talking to you. Why would you hold me that long? We got to ask ourselves these common sense questions. And I don't know what the next step is as far as what we need to do in the meantime, because Judge Poole said he's going to go over this for 3 weeks. And I hope until then, the spirit of justice visits him daily and pulls on his heartstrings to just do the right thing. There's not, he's not asking to just walk out of prison. He's asking for a new trial. And he deserves that. He deserves that. I agree. My spirit agrees with that. He deserves a new trial. Nothing wrong with that. That means the state's going to have to get up off of their butt and do their work. And that means that we really got to deal with the police's involvement in this case, how improper it was. And really, we need to start firing some people. I would say, shucks, if I was the judge, we need to start prosecuting some folks. Because it's some police officers that need to go to jail. I said that. It's some police that need to go to jail. For locking this man up for almost 9 years. For something I believe he didn't commit. You have a right to a fair trial, jury of your peers, to effective counsel. Those are your rights, people. And I'm going to say this in closing. I think we just need to make it proper practice as a community. When any of us start having interactions with police, first, the answer to every question, lawyer. 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 Folks, man, stand in solidarity as a community. It can happen to you. We got to start dealing with the things that's going on in our own backyard. You could be concerned with other things, but be concerned with home first. We got to start doing what's right. All right? And as always, if no one is taking the time to tell you that they love you today, I love you, baby. Then guess what? There's absolutely nothing you can do about that. Y'all have a good day today, all right? Tune in tomorrow.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Hamilton County Health Department says at least 2 Chattanoogans were infected with E. coli after eating at the River Drifters restaurant on Suck Creek Road. Police believe the E. coli came from the well water. The health department says the restaurant is complying and they're working on getting a new, healthier water source. The location otherwise has a spotless health record. A man was blasted in the thigh with a shotgun in Cook Park, Athens. Police say it happened just after 8 p.m. Sunday. They found Willie Lusain Jr. with his leg shredded with buckshot.